we just published this deep dive report to talk about the energy internet that China is building and how round-the-clock renewables, where we expect capacities for renewables to triple versus government projections by the end of the decade, will actually enable China to achieve energy self-sufficiency by 2060. Now, this has an area of implication for investors. From equities perspective, those who are enabling this transition to happen, we like to call them as greenablers. And from commodities perspective, as China step away from fossil fuel over time, especially coal, more dramatically from 2030. Now, one such important greenabler to make this energy internet work, especially the round-the-clock renewable energy, is the energy storage. And we expect China will need to build 520 gigawatt of energy storage by 2030, and that'll be predominantly batteries-based. Now, to come to your question more head-on, until a couple of years ago, we had enough fossil fuels in the world. Now we are having shortages, and we believe for a more self-sufficient, which is top of mind for every country, as well as reliable, cleaner, and an affordable energy system to evolve over time, China's renewable, round-the-clock renewable, will be the straight answer to that. In the near term, yes, coal will matter for the next 3 to 5 years, but as China has spent a decade building the solar and the battery supply chain, once the reliability problem is solved, which is through the grid expansion and the energy storage, we think China will switch to round-the-clock renewable towards the later part of this decade.
But what will provide the pace load? Because should they be building more nuclear as well to pair up with that? Because you know, there's efficiency problems when you're talking about the transmission of electricity just to begin with. And, you know, the problems that you're mentioning when it comes to some of the round-the-clock aspects of battery storage and the like. So, do they need? Is it gas? Is it nuclear? What is the base load? What is the core of that strategy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question. Look, I think from the self-sufficiency perspective, what China today has is coal, which is why coal will matter for the next 5 to 7 years. Nuclear is another aspect China is quite focused on in their 14th five-year energy plan that came out last year. But the lead time to build the nuclear plants is quite long. So even after you're building more nuclear in China, it will still move towards somewhere in the teens in the energy mix. So it's not fully self-sufficient to create all the base loads. So we think from an energy transmission perspective, China will need to invest at a 9% CAGR in the related grid to make the smart transmission grid that will be able to rebalance the power when the intermittency issues of renewables are there. And as a result, I mentioned the energy storage will become a critical part to have this round-the-clock electricity that supports the grid. So coal will matter next 7 years, but ultimately round-the-clock will matter as well.